In this video, we're going to take a look at an area within Business Central that's called Jobs. So if I go to the Jobs menu, in this test Kronos database, there are 3 jobs that are already set up in the system, and we're going to take a look at these. So I'm going to look at the first one here called New Office Furniture. And on the job card, what we do is we create a job card for each job, and then we can actually put down task lines and lines that we want to install things on. Now, if you notice, these are all, they're not bolded, they're not indented. So these are just single lines that we've created here. Initial consulting, prep for install, delivery of chairs and other furniture. So on the job card, we have the person responsible for this project. We have a last date modified up here. We can have a project manager. And then on each of these lines, we could have these are all posting accounts, so I can actually post transactions directly to these. You'll see a little later on that we can have other types of job tasks that we can set up. There's a posting area that tells us what posting group these are going to get, everything's going to get posted to here, and that affects the GL account numbers. We have a duration for the project, a start date and an end date for this. So we know this project is going to last 1 month. And then we also have an area down here for foreign trade, if you're dealing in different currencies, so on and so forth, and then WHIP. So as we collect work against this, or as work is posted against it, the area down here starts to fill in so that we know exactly where we stand in each of these areas for sales, cost, profit, so on and so forth. And so these will statistically keep a record of where we are on this particular job. There are a few things that we want to take a look at here. So on 2 of these lines, we have budget total cost, and then on 2 of the lines, we have billable total cost. And the reason that we don't see, for example, billable on this line 100 is that if I go to the planning line, this line was set up as a type budget. So I can set it up as budget, billable, or both. And depending upon how they're set, this is strictly a budgetary number, so it doesn't appear under the billable section of this. If I look at this line, for example, this one will be set to both budget and billable. So, and interestingly enough, you see a single line there, but over here there actually are 2 lines. One is for items. These are chairs that we're going to be billing to the job, and the other line is a resource line for Catherine. So we're going to be billing 10 hours to her. So within each of those lines that you see, we can have many sublines here, many underlying lines that roll up to that get us down into the detail of the job. I'm going to exit out of here and go back to our job. And this is a very simple illustration of a job where we just want to create tasks for a job and then assign them to various people, purchase material for them, and so on and so forth. I want to take a look at a job that is more complex. So if we take a look at this job 10, this one looks totally different. And the reason it's totally different is because what we have here is we've got a much more complex project. We have phase 1, which is planning and specifications. And notice we have a field where we can have a beginning total. We can have posting accounts where we can actually post transactions to these particular lines. And then we have a phase 1 total. So with this kind of a setup, we can have a much more sophisticated project out here. So phase 2 is demo, phase 3 is install, phase 4 is the final review. And then under each of these phases, we have the actual tasks that are going on. And then within these tasks, we also can see all of the detail of how we plan on getting these tasks performed. On the right-hand side of this screen, we see that for this job, we have budgeted costs for resources and for items. We have actual cost for resource and items. We don't have any cost on those. billable prices, the resources at $13,888 and the items at $1151.20. So our total billable amount for this particular contract is $15,031.20. So this gives us an overview of what is the scope of this project in terms of cost and billable hours. And if we go to related here and go to jobs planning lines, these are all of the underlying lines that are going to affect that cost for us. So if we take a look at for line 1010, we're looking at Catherine here as a resource, 20 hours, and her unit price is $100 per hour. So the total billable hours that we're going to have out here is going to be $2,000. So I'm going to slide this over a little bit. So the line amount's actually $2,000. So take all these line amounts and add them up and you'll get your $13,020.50. And you can see that these are all typed both budget and billable. And so for any of these individual lines that we have out here, we can actually see how we plan on delivering them. Here's an item that's going to be part of this. There are 8 chairs that are going to be delivered at a unit cost of $97.50, and we're billing them out at $143.90. So it's our total sale amount. So you can see how these things roll up and are actually an integral part of this job. So we can have sophisticated jobs that have phases and then detail under it. We can have simple jobs that just have some planning lines on them. Since the jobs module is completely integrated into Business Central, if we go to purchase orders and we just open one of these purchase orders up, you'll see that down in the line area there's a jobs number field. So if I wanted to take this Athens desk and allocate it to my job 0010, all I have to do is put this on the line itself, and now when this desk is received, the cost of it will be allocated to the job. So there's an automatic link between the jobs module and purchasing items for the jobs by creating this job number link on purchase order lines. We can do additional tasks here. So for example, I could add a new line, and I could call this, I'd put this in between these two numbers. So I can make this 15. I can just call this test for now. And I can go over and then actually give it a new task. So here we're going to call this a new task. It's going to be both budget and billable. And it's going to be a resource. I'm going to use Catherine here, or Catherine, and it's going to be 2 hours. And I'm going to change my dates here to 3. Let's make it 3/14. And when I say OK, this inserts this line in here for me, new starting date, new ending date, brings up my numerical values and so on and so forth for what my budgetary cost is going to be and my billable hours out here. If I have an item that I want to get rid of, I can simply delete this line as long as there's been no posting to it. So the line itself this is how we can insert and manage and clean up these lines. So besides posting costs directly from a purchase order when something is received, we can actually use a job journal. And from the job journal, this is where we can post the actual transactions that have taken on. So for this job 10, I'm just going to call it 10, it has some leading zeros here. We have task 0, we have task 1010, and we have task 1110 that we're actually saying, hey, this has been completed, and we should actually now be posting cost to our job related to these on these particular days. So I can use a job journal here to actually go in and post cost to this job. I'm going to use this same one that we just had here, 1110. And I could say that this is still Terry that's working on this. And in here under description, I could put in and I could post another 2 hours to this job just as an example. So I can come in and make manual entries for this. Your employees can actually have access to this and they can record their own time, which is typically what happens related to resources. But I can manually add these, or I can actually add these from the job itself. I also have complete control to be able to actually remove these lines if I would choose to. So I can go to Manage and I can delete this line that I've just put in. So I'm right back to where I was. I also can handle these in a different way. So let me go back over to my job. And let's take this reclaim brick line that we have here. And on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to my job planning line. And so this is a task that I'm planning on getting done. And what I can do with this is from here, I can actually directly allocate this to my job journal. So under the Actions tab, I can go to Functions and create Job Journal line. And what this will do is it gives me a date that I want to post this to. I'm going to say that it's on 3/12. The job journal batch and template name. I'll say OK. And this has actually posted this over into our job journal to be posted and allocated to this particular job. So if I go to my job journal, I have a new line down here now. And this has now transferred these 2 hours over into my job journal in order to post these. So before I can process this, I need a document number here. I can just sit on this line and touch the F8 key, and it'll populate it with the document number that was up above. So I'm going to exit out of here for a moment. And what I want to do is go to my job down here, and I want to look at this area down here below where we have the accumulated cost for all of these things. As you can see, these are all zeros. There's nothing that's ever been posted to this job. So when we post the job journal line, we'll see some of these numbers actually change. So if we leave the job card and go back to our job journal, what we can do now is post this and see this cost arrive at our job. So I'm just simply going to go to posting, I'm going to post. The journal lines were posted successfully. So if we exit the job journal and we go back to our job, we can see that we now have some actual cost recorded here, $2,132.80. And if I drill into this, you can see that these are the transactions that I just posted from the job journal. So we have Catherine and Terry, and here's the job, job task 1120 that I just added to it in the last step. So you can see that these costs begin to accumulate. And so this is an overview, and there are a lot of other features and details that can go into the job planning or the job module. But this is an overview of how the job module works and how you can use it to manage projects. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, remember to click below and subscribe for more.